This video is sponsored by Squarespace. Hey guys, Jay here. Welcome to Miles Memories Weekly, episode 246. Miles Memories is a show about nothing and is filmed in front of a live studio audience. This is a show where we're talking about painting, modeling, and wargaming experiences from the week. Now you might be thinking to yourself, Jay, you put out 3 videos a week. Oh, could I possibly have more to say? Well, I do, and here goes. This week, Games Workshop came out with some really cool AdMech big boys, and we got a really spicy announcement concerning this year's Grotzmas. But first, most everything you see on the internet is a square format, and today's sponsor Squarespace is here to help with that. Squarespace allows anyone to design the website of their dreams with the most powerful and easiest design tools in the industry, like Design Blueprint. Using AI technology empowers anyone to build a more personalized website tailored to their needs, crafting a bespoke digital identity. Choose from a professionally curated selection of styling options to build a unique online presence from the ground up. Squarespace makes sure it's easy to launch your website and get discovered fast with integrated optimized SEO tools, so you show up more often to more people and grow the way you want. With Squarespace, it's never been easier to set up a unique online storefront. Whether your services are physical, digital, or service-based, selling your wares has never been easier. Squarespace offers an unmatched ability to showcase your unique wares with images, videos, reviews, and add-ons, all capped off with their seamless checkout tools, letting your customers use whatever system they prefer, whether Klarna, ACH Direct Deposit, Apple Pay, Afterpay, or ClearPay. Squarespace offers a free trial for you to dip your feet into and test the waters, and ready to dive in headfirst, and go to squarespace.com/EonsOfBattle or follow the link in the description to get 10% off your first purchase of a website or domain. It's a good time to collect AdMech for Warhammer 30,000. They got some new big boys in the Myrmidon Destructor Host. These guys are some big ol' Skitarii with some really interesting look to them. The first thing I really noticed is these guys' feetsies. The feet, oh wait, do they have different feet? One guy is completely covered in robes, the other guy has like an animal leg where it goes backwards, but the guy in the middle, he has a very particular looking leg, and that is the leg of the Knight Perfurion. The Knight Perfurion is such a cool miniature. I've seen it on well, actually not the Forge World website anymore. Now it's just the Games Workshop website. I've seen it in person a couple of times. Tabletop Time has a great video putting one of these suckers together. Like, it is such a cool, big, monstrous knight with like the mega cannons. And it has a very cool looking leg. Knights have some pretty good legs, but that knight, the Perfurion, has some really cool legs that actually look big and powerful and stable. This guy has legs that perfectly match the Knight Perfurion. And I almost wonder, in like the Games Workshop digital archives, do they just have those legs hanging out? Because I know that the Knight Perfurion was in Adeptus Mechanicus. And so like, did they just grab those legs and then import them when they started putting together these new miniatures? Also, these new miniatures are fantastic. They look so good and Mechanicus-y and like evil, and the combination of the robes with the armor panels on top of it. They've got these weird guns that look almost exactly like the Plasma Caster from Fallout New Vegas, which is a really fun weapon. Although Plasma moves so slow in Fallout, and so it's so hard to actually hit your target because the game is really old, and so it's hard to know where like the enemy characters are gonna move to because it's so janky. But I like the Plasma Caster. It does so much damage. It's got like such a high damage per second, and it doesn't matter because we're talking about 40k. But I really like these guys. It looks like all of the 30k kits would make a Dark Mechanicus 40k army so easy to put together. Like, these guys would they're probably on the smaller side, but I think they would still make for some really good Havoc proxies. Especially you just slap those Havoc guns onto that arm hanging down, and they got the Mecha Dendrites, and they've got the little servo skulls hanging off the back, a giant nuclear reactor hanging off of their back, and then their segmented shoulder pads. I like a big chunky miniature. I love Terminators. I love Centurion warsuits. I love Paragon warsuits for the Sisters of Battle. I love the Tau Crisis battlesuit teams. Like, anything that stands on a big old base and is just a big chunky dude with good toughness and good weapons. It's one of my favorite styles of wargaming miniatures, and I feel like these guys would fit right in. Although a little small on what appears to be 40mm bases, if I had to guess. They're, I guess, a little bit like Aberrants for the Genestealer cult, but the Aberrants are way too small. They're like the aberrants are in the actual game. Their stats are bananas. They are really, really tough, really, really powerful, hit like an absolute truck. But they're like shorter than guardsmen, and they stand on 32mm bases. It's just, I feel like if Games Workshop could redo them, they would be double or triple the size that they currently are. Even in the animation, the Angels of Death animation that Games Workshop put out on their channel or on their subscription service, those guys, the aberrants, were enormous, but unfortunately the miniature is just a little bit too small. They came out in the last gasp of smaller Warhammer miniatures, like 2016, 2017. Like that last little bit was when things weren't quite right. Like the Adeptus Custodes are a little smaller than they need to be. The Deathwatch Overkill box with the Anti-Xeno Space Marines, the Deathwatch, not quite big enough, which is probably why they just got revamped into new like Primaris-size Space Marines. A little bit too small. I like the modern Games Workshop chunk. But speaking of modern Games Workshop chunk, I remember Christmas time last year, Grotzmas was on fire with the new detachments. Every day leading up to Christmas, they put out at least one new detachment for Warhammer 40,000, and it was glorious. It was so much fun. We got a whole bunch of detachments that were not so good. We got a couple that were absolutely broken. We got a couple that I think are still fantastic. I think that's when the Black Templar one came out, where at the top of the turn, you get to pick between 3 abilities. One is better survivability. One is plus 2 inches to move for like all miniatures, which I still think is really good. It hasn't panned out to be one of the top performing detachments, but I still think it's a really, really good, really strong one that I really want to play with as soon as I get some more dreadnoughts put together, because I feel like it would really benefit like Redemptors and Brutalises a ton. We also got the absolutely busted the Mordaka detachments, where orcs, it was absolutely broken because it gave them sustained hits too, which is so much fun on like the big shooter that's stuck onto a truck. But it is not so much fun when it is the Tank Buster squad getting sustained hits too on their redonkulous weapons. So, but it's fun. Like, I really, really like the new detachment system that 40k 10th edition has. It really does change up how you play, what things are available to you. It can recontextualize different data sheets within your codex. It's just a really, really fun way for the game to change kind of dramatically for an actual player, but it doesn't really change the game state that much. They've tried a bunch of different things over the year. Like in 6th and 7th edition, there were also detachments, but they were locked into, if you take exactly these models in your army, then you get like a fleet of rhinos for free. Or with the Necrons, there was the Awakened Dynasty, where if you essentially brought like 100 Necron warriors, then it would be impossible to actually defeat them. And so it just became like, it wasn't that creative because you had to take what Games Workshop was telling you to take, and then it just became overpowered, which wasn't that much fun to play against. But a detachment, you kind of have to learn a detachment. Like you got 6 stratagems, you got 4 enhancements, and you got 1 army rule. And so between all of those different things, you kind of got to figure out, well, is this really good for bikers? Is it really good for infantry? Is this gonna let me do something really, really weird? Like the Raven Guard Vanguard Spearhead that I really, really like. It's one of my favorite ways to play Space Marines is sneaky Space Marines. The army rule almost doesn't matter. It's -1 to be hit if you're outside of 18-inch range of your opponent, but it really doesn't come into play that often. What really comes into play is one of the stratagems, Guerrilla Tactics, where you can uppy downy one of any Space Marine unit in the game. And what I was doing with this is I would have a big 6 brick of Centurion Devastators, and I would be teleporting them all over the board to get really good shooting angles. And because they're Centurions, even when my opponent got some shots off on them, he'd kill like 1, maybe 2 Centurions, and then I would just up them right back off the board. Like, it's a really, really fun, interesting like detachment that changes the game quite a bit, and I really, really like it. And I think Games Workshop should just be pumping out the detachments. Why not? It's just text, it's just words. And if it really, really doesn't work, just slap a Band-Aid fix on it later. It really is not that big a deal. Even some of the worst, most broken detachments have been fixed Or there's the Space Marine Heroes of the First Company detachment where it was so bad on release and then Games Workshop never touched it, so it just kind of exists in one of the 30 detachments that Space Marines have access to. I'm a big fan of detachments, and so there's 2 different ways that Games Workshop feeds us. I guess 3 different ways that Games Workshop feeds us detachments. You get some in your codex. Black Templars got 3 in our recent codex that I was really excited about. Previously, they were giving us 3 random detachments quarterly. And so we got some in June, and we also got some in March. So we got some in March, we got some in June, but then we haven't gotten any more for the rest of the year. So 6 months have gone by. Games Workshop is really bad whenever they put out a roadmap or they just say anything. They're like, we're doing quarterly detachments. Every 3 months, you guys are getting 3 detachments. But no, they gave up on that pretty quick. And last year, Grotmas, we got so many new detachments. And I remember Tactical Tortoise was doing a video every single day talking about what new detachment just came out. And so that got me really pumped for this year's Grotzmas. And this year's Grotzmas, the Games Workshop put out an article about it, and it seems like they're gonna be doing things a little bit differently. So this year, get ready for this. Hold on to your socks. Every single day of Grotzmas, on Warhammer Community, there's gonna be an article. There's gonna be an article. Now I know that regularly articles come out daily, but for Grotzmas, there's gonna be an article every single day. And sometimes it's gonna be painting, sometimes it's gonna be 40K, sometimes it's gonna be lore, sometimes it's gonna be one of their other games that they talk about. It's gonna be normal business as usual for the Warhammer community. They did tease that there's gonna be some unreleased lore, which I don't necessarily know what that means. I guess like maybe things that didn't become short stories or things that didn't make the cut for the codexes are gonna get cleaned up and then published for realsies. Could be something interesting with that. There's some things happening in 40K, but it does break my heart just a little bit that we're not gonna be getting detachments this year. Like just write them. Just write the words. Like Games Workshop, put me in, I'm ready. I'll write the detachments. They won't be very good, but they're gonna be really fun. There's so many weird, dumb things you could do. Drukhari has been killing it this edition because we have our Power from Pain ability, which is such a wonderful ability. Every time I kill an enemy unit, I get a pain token. And every time I can make my opponent fail a battle shock check, I get another pain token. And then I can spend those to make my units better. It's such a nice snowball effect of I have to play the game to get benefits to help me play the game to get benefits to help me play the game. Like that engine, just build one of those for every single faction. Also, like the Tyranids, they've got their new Synapse rule, which has greatly helped tons and tons of their data sheets. If you can get Synapse, you get so many benefits, where previously Synapse didn't really do a whole bunch. Like 40K is kind of cooking right now. And just write some more detachments. Why not? They are so much fun. Maybe write some detachments for things that like are kind of don't really exist right now, like demons and harlequins. Like Dark Mechanicus detachment, maybe? Maybe just do something weird, like Agents of the Imperium is not a real army. Like put out some detachments for Agents of the Imperium, just for people to have fun with. Maybe write a detachment that is just, the old rule was come the apocalypse was for allying in like the randomest stuff. And so, what was weird is you could ally in like Tyranids and Space Marines and Necrons, but if those models ever got, I think within 9 inches of each other in game, then it all fell apart. Like make a detachment where really weird random stuff happens. Or if you don't want to do detachments, maybe do some game modes. Like just, it's like the 40K, like it doesn't have to be official, it doesn't have to be tournament legal. If that means anything, really. Like they've gotten detachments that are broken or not good enough for tournament play, but they're still really fun. So I think Games Workshop is just being a little lazy this year in not putting out a whole bunch of detachments, or at least give us 3 random ones like you used to do. That was still fun. But instead, we're gonna get some painting guides that show if you buy these 25 colors from Games Workshop, you can paint it pretty much like the box arts. Oh, Games Workshop. You don't need just 1 green and then you mix some colors into it. You need like 7 greens to really pull off how that leg looks. This year, Grotzmas has been canceled. Maybe it's because 10th edition is kind of done. We've got all of the codexes except demons. Everyone says, well, yeah, obviously they're not doing demons anymore. I don't get why that's obvious. Like, demons are such a thing in Warhammer 40,000. They're mentioned in like the page 1 description of the setting of Warhammer 40,000. Almost every book includes like traveling through the warp and then being accosted by demons. Like, demons are one of the, like, that they are chaos incarnate. They're one of the giant threats to the Imperium, but they're kind of done. Like, they're just they're getting rolled into the Chaos Space Marine books. You can take them if you bring one singular detachment. And other than that, we're not really gonna touch on them that much. Like, the Grey Knights are an entire faction dedicated to only slaying demons. And the Grey Knights no longer have a nemesis for no reason. I get that the Demon's army right now is a mess. It's languished for a very, very long time. Unless you're doing combined demons, you don't really have enough stuff to put together a really nice, interesting army. And it's definitely 4 different factions that are kind of currently being treated as one singular mono faction. And so you've got 4 different versions of infantry, and then 4 different versions of a fast attack, and then 4 different versions of an elite unit, and then 4 different versions of a chariot or some sort of a vehicle equivalent. Like, it is kind of a mess. It does need to be cleaned up a little bit, but I do come out with demons. Demons are a thing in 40K. They're way more of a thing than Agents of the Imperium. Agents of the Imperium is just Games Workshop accidentally writing too many random data sheets for the Grey Knights and the Sisters of Battle, and so they accidentally birthed a new faction. Demons are a thing in 40K, and I think that they should remain a thing in 40K. Maybe 11th edition launch box is revamped demon army. I think that would be pretty cool. All of the rumors say that it's going to be Space Marines versus Orcs, a little bit of the Assault on Black Reach box from way back in the day. And that would be cool. I think Orcs do need some stuff. Like, they just need generic boys, they need generic Gretchen, they need generic knobs, because those kits are very, very old. And then Orcs would be absolutely topped off. There would be nothing else they could possibly need. Orcs are a very, very well done faction. They're almost as big as Space Marines. Like, you can run Speed Freaks Orcs, you can run Snakebite Orcs, you can run Green Tide Orcs, you can now even do like Kill Rig Mad Max Orcs, you can do nothing but buggies, you can do nothing but planes, you can do Gorkanaut Morkanaut, like Rumble in the Jungle. Orcs have so many different ways to play because they have so many different data sheets, which makes an army really, really fun. If I'm rocking up to the Warhammer store and I'm gonna play somebody in 40K and I don't know what they're bringing, but I know that they're playing like Grey Knights, I pretty much know what I'm up against. You know, maybe they're bringing some Dread Knights, they're bringing some Paladins, they're bringing some Strike Squads. But if somebody's bringing Orcs, I have no idea what I'm going to see. If they're playing Space Marines, I have no idea what I'm going to see. And that's what makes it really, really fun. So I hope that we get some nice, cool new stuff for the Orcs, but I think Demons would be cooler. I think Demons would be a lot cooler. Almost as cool as EonsOfBattle.com. EonsOfBattle.com is the place to find all sorts of great hobby goodies. We got Dirty Down products, we got Army Painter paints, we got wet palettes, we got paintbrushes, dry brushes, we got basing toppers and bits, and we also have terrain. Is the best way to support us doing what we do by getting a membership. Each month, members get a credit good for one terrain pack that we've ever made or the brand spanking new one. Our new terrain for December, the Bubble City. Embrace your inner amphibian with this alien encampment, a truly unique series of aquatic structures like the Bubble House, Bubble Command Center, and Bubble Fortress. It's not just buildings, it also has some powerful defenses in the turret and shield walls. Get ready to get immersed in some underwater goodness, perfect for all the popular wargames. And speaking of all the popular wargames, I feel like the end of the year is really catching up to me quick. There's so many different games that I have been tinkering with over the course of the year. I mean, my heart is still in Warhammer 40,000. That's what I've done the vast majority of my painting and modeling for, and I've put the finishing touches this weekend on 30 more Kroot Carnivores. So I am finally up to 70 Kroot Carnivores, only 50 left to paint. And so I'm really getting a move on my Kroot army. That's another thing that they can make a detachment for. I mean, there already is a Kroot detachment, but make some more, because Kroot are a really weird sub-faction of the Tau, which is one of kind of the lesser factions in 40K. I'd say they're probably on par with like Eldar and Dark Eldar. But the Kroot, I really like the Kroot. They have such a bizarre, weird, wacky playstyle where I'm just gonna have an absolute sea of low strength, low toughness models that honestly don't do much damage. But if I bring enough of them, I think it'll still play really well on the tabletop. I got them all built. I do need to get them based. I think I'm gonna try to do that today. So maybe I'll go do that now. Thanks for watching.